For much of history, the ocean was regarded as an inhospitable, inaccessible realm. Explorers endeavored to cross it, to discover new lands and expand empires. But while these pioneers gazed out across the waves in search of a new world, few thought to look downwards. Perhaps they thought it futile. After all, the mainstream scientific viewpoint was that life could not exist more than 550 meters, or 1,800 feet beneath the surface of the ocean. An idea proposed by Edward Forbes in 1834, known as the Abyssus theory. He believed that the abundance and variety of marine life decreased with increasing depth, and calculated that it ceased to exist at a certain depth. But many challenged him, giving way to vastly increased efforts in deep-sea exploration. So much so that it led to the Royal Navy granting use of a ship called the HMS Challenger for a global expedition. A voyage that would help lay the foundations of modern oceanography. Portsmouth, England. The date is the 21st of December 1872, and something remarkable is taking place. The HMS Challenger is departing from the port, captained by George Nares. Scottish natural historian and naturalist Charles Wyville Thomson occupies the role of scientific supervisor. He has modified the ship for scientific tasks, equipping it with laboratories, loading specimen jars with alcohol to preserve samples, microscopes, trawls and dredges, sounding leads, devices to collect sediment from the deep sea, and great lengths of rope to suspend this equipment into the depths. This expedition was to be the first of its kind, one organized specifically to gather data on the ocean environment and its inhabitants. As a supporter of the then recent theory of evolution, Thomson believed that the deep sea would be home to missing links and living fossils, creatures that were long extinct in shallower regions. He believed that the conditions of extreme cold, intense darkness, and a lack of currents created an environment that was stable and unchanging, allowing evolution to slow or stop completely. Many scientists expected him to find representatives of earlier geological periods and zoological antiquities which, in the tranquil and little-changed depths of the ocean, have escaped the causes of destruction at work in the shallows and represent the predominant population of a past age. This was somewhat supported when a few organisms previously thought to be extinct were found and catalogued among the countless newly discovered species. A team of 5 scientists on board the HMS Challenger conducted the research, and over a 3-year period at sea, they studied the oceans at 360 stations around the world, measuring depth and collecting samples. To measure the bottom depth, they lowered a line with a weight attached to it until it reached the sea floor, a method called lead and line sounding. On the 23rd of March 1875, in the southwest Pacific Ocean between Guam and Palau at station number 225, the crew recorded a sounding of 4,475 fathoms, a depth that translates to 8,184 meters or 26,850 feet. in the southern area of the Mariana Trench. The crew had not expected to find a spot so deep. The first time they sent down a weight to measure the depth, they ran out of rope. When they sent down a thermometer, the glass cracked. They had discovered the deepest known place on the ocean floor, now estimated to be a few thousand meters deeper than their initial measurements. The discovery of this location, now bearing the name the Challenger Deep, led to a huge broadening in our understanding of oceanography. In addition to the use of sounding, the crew would drag a weighted net with a 10-foot wide mouth across a patch of the ocean floor and haul aboard the sea creatures and sediments it dredged up. Upon retrieving the nets at the surface, the crew sorted, rinsed, and stored specimens for examination upon return, preserving them in brine or alcohol. A young assistant ship's steward, Joseph Matkin, wrote to his cousin, "When the dredge is hauled up, the scientists stand around in their shirt sleeves and commence overhauling the mud for fish. And as soon as they get any, down they all go to dissect and pickle them in glass jars." Every time they dredged the bottom of the ocean, they would bring up weirder and weirder creatures at deeper and deeper levels, as it quickly became apparent that the oceans are teeming with life. And in March of 1875, after more than 2 years at sea, the crew of the HMS Challenger made a remarkable discovery. Using a deep-sea dredge, they uncovered an abundance of life at depth well beyond 1,800 feet, disproving Forbes' Abyssus theory once and for all. During its 127,580 kilometer or 79,280 mile journey, the crew on board the Challenger took 492 deep-sea soundings and 284 dredges and trawls. This led to the discovery of 4,700 new species of marine life, recorded in volumes and illustrated by the official expedition artist, John James Wild. One drawing shows the crew hauling aboard a large shark, while 2 of the ship's dogs look on warily. But the hauls were not always so exciting.
"The mud! Ye gods, imagine a cart full of whitish mud, filled with the minutest shells, poured all wet and sticky and slimy on some clean planks. In this the naturalists paddle and wade about, putting spadefuls in successively finer and finer sieves, till nothing remains but the minute shells."
Many of the specimens they found are now stored at the Spirit Collection of the Natural History Museum in London. The voyage saw the Challenger travel from England to the North Atlantic and the Caribbean, down to Brazil and east to the southern tip of Africa. They dipped down within sight of Antarctic icebergs and then headed up along Australia's southeast coast, making their way through Micronesia and Asia, then east across the Pacific, tracing South America and arriving back in England on May 24th, 1876, 3.5 years after the journey's start. A wealth of information about the marine environment was yielded, all catalogued in the Report of Scientific Results of the Exploring Voyage of HMS Challenger during the years 1873 to 76, a publication that would be the greatest advance in the knowledge of our planet since the 16th century, a wealth of data so vast that it filled 50 volumes with 30,000 pages of information, marking a scientific revolution. Just 5 scientists during the course of 3 years managed to lay the foundations of oceanography. Much like our theories about the cosmic expanse of the universe, our ignorance meant we once thought it unlikely that life could survive in the depths because of our knowledge of pressure and the extreme conditions down there. But now, ocean science could advance in the knowledge that the depths concealed yet more secrets. The Challenger expedition's exciting discoveries encouraged other countries to take interest in the oceans and to mount their own expeditions. In the years since, entirely new ecosystems have been found in the deep ocean. Hydrothermal vents were discovered as recently as 1977, teeming with unique creatures relying entirely on energy produced by the Earth itself, rather than sunlight. We have still only scratched the surface. There is no doubt that the future of ocean exploration will hold many more incredible discoveries, with organizations like OceanX and Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute leading the way in developing the vital technology needed to get closer than ever before to the other world beneath the waves.